I'm a bit hungover as I wake up in my little cabin the following morning. But on first glance out the window, it's clear that the day demands my full attention. So out I sneak to take in today's natural blessings, before I swiftly find myself in a position where a rather sudden blissful sensation knocks out all brain processing powers. That's just what morning glory does to you. After walking back to my new friends, I find Hideyoshi carving a coffee cup out of a solid block of wood, while Rio, a fellow outdoor enthusiast and studied barista, is preparing some mind-blowing good morning coffee. To cut it short, those two guys are awesome. Thanks so much for the good time, fellas. But now I must go. It's a perfect day for skateboarding, but in order to get out of this crater, it appears I must walk up some mountains first. Or I just hitchhike a sports car convertible. Well, this ain't the trip for wishful thinking, is it? A guy from the US Army named Clint takes me over the mountain peaks in his Honda S2000. That's the car I used to be crazy about some 12 years ago, and now I get my first ride in it. Which feels good, but then again, nothing beats skateboarding. Yes, I might give away some concerned looks. Yet while browsing through the landscape on this little piece of wood, I'm as giddy as a Japanese schoolgirl on the inside. To be fair, the villages around here are less memorable. But my eyes are fixed on the upcoming challenge anyway. I'm talking mountains, of course. I'm talking walking while trying not to get lost. If only I could decipher their signs, like that one, or that one, or at least that one, or that one that says friggin' bears? That's right. The one and only wild and lethal animal of Japan is the bear, and they live exclusively in the woods of northern Honshu, which is exactly where I'm at. Needless to say, from then on, pushing uphill ain't that much struggle anymore. In the end, I find refuge behind some bushes, next to a stream, in a guest house where I can take an onsen bath for relaxing times. Which is almost as relaxing as the smooth asphalt I get the next day on my final kilometers to Towada-ko's sister lake. Which, to add confusion, is called Tazawa-ko and is not pictured here. This is just a barrier lake on the way. Tazawa-ko lies at an altitude almost 200 meters below Towada-ko, meaning I get to skate more downhills than uphills for a change. The road stays fast and fantastic for the most part. It's only the final kilometer that's a bit nasty. But hey, I'm eager to get to that lake before the sun sets. I just want to see it fully exposed, that's all. And look at that. Apparently I was so fast, we all get to see it overexposed. Wow. Just as I stand still, I get chatted up by an elderly couple, just wanting to make sure I acknowledge the sunset. So take it from them while I present the basic facts to you. This here lake, Tazawa-ko, lies at an altitude of 250 meters, but it's over 420 meters deep, making it Japan's deepest lake. In fact, it's so deep that it never totally freezes. As opposed to myself, I'm also deep as hell, but I'll freeze that night, let me tell you. Yeah, I'd say so. For today's final holiday, I have a beer or two in a deserted local brewery, where I also attempt to be creative before the tent awaits. So after said freezing night, I find out it's only 50 kilometers to a city called Morioka. 50 kilometers? That's done in half a day, if we step on it. Whoa, what's this? Okay, stop right there. It's a traditional band providing the soundtrack to a small market it is. There's all sorts of goodies to eat, but my eyes are glued to yakitori alone. It's a kind of a chicken skewer. Been waiting for this since I read the recipe in a video game magazine 17 years ago. Now the wait is over, and it was worth it. Okay now, hurry. To tell the truth, the road doesn't hold any more surprises. So I find it's fair to make some smart cuts. And hey, here we are, Morioka. I find a cheap guest house next to the entertainment district. Sounds nice, but it's Sunday night, so nobody's expecting much. Still, I wander around the streets, trying to find... Oh hey, Astro Boy. Trying to find, you know, a place of belonging. I work hard to get lost, so finally I find myself in a dark hidden back alley. And bingo, as no one in Germany says, we have ourselves a German pub. Hi. Turns out the owner of the bar, Kamata Yoshihito-san, is a sucker for German culture. On the walls, I find countless photos from his trips through my home area in Bavaria. Now, the fondness of the Japanese towards Germany is a rather well-known fact, but in here, I'm still taken aback. Naturally, what follows is a kind of a culture exchange program in form of a proper beer, schnapps and schnitzelfest with the owner and some of his best friends. I guess we all learned a lot that night, if we could remember it. This ambassadorial duty leaves me unable to move the following day, so I stay at home. Luckily, it's raining anyway. The following day, it's on the verge of raining, but I'm eager to skate, so let's just hope for the best and not waste much time. Let's head off to the city of Tono, about 70 kilometers to the southeast. As is the case with every Japanese city above a certain scale, you first gotta get past endless branches that are lined up with used car dealerships and other enterprises that are rather less pleasing to the eye, before you find yourself in the wild again. The landscape I'm skating through now is called Tono Valley, famous for its folklore tradition and its many hidden Shinto shrines. Let me just find one to illustrate the story. Oh, there you go. Now, Shinto shrines come in many different sizes, from pocket size to bowling alley king size. They are cultural sites to worship local gods and spirits, known as kami. Shinto has no doctrine, so basically it's not a religion per se. Still, it's a belief in the powers of nature that's been cultivated long before Buddhism arrived from China in the 7th century. Therefore, Shinto resembles a deep social and cultural affiliation towards Japan, and marks the ground for a common national identity. By the way, a Shinto shrine is always marked by the so-called torii gate, resembling the entrance to holy grounds. Estimations say that there are over 100,000 Shinto shrines installed all over Japan. Naturally, with that many local gods and spirits come many legends and myths. Therefore, Shinto is strongly intertwined with Japanese folklore. Now we really gotta get back on the road. It's already starting to rain, so we really must hurry. Oh hey! Look at that. It's an old farmhouse from the 1700s, now partly functioning as a museum. Next to some original farming gear, you also find more delicate objects, illustrating magnificent craftsmanship and a highly distinct appreciation for aesthetics. Looking around the back door, what do you find? Yeah, of course. The family Shinto shrine. Alright then, back to the road. By now the little drizzle turned into icy rain. Combined with a harsh wind, it's getting so freezing that I can hardly hold the camera anymore. So I switch it off. To be fair, that doesn't make much difference anyway, as it's about this dark as I finally make it into the town of Tono. Here's a new day. As stated, Tono is especially famous for its folklore tradition, featuring all sorts of mythical creatures and good and evil spirits. This rose the interest of one Kunio Yanagita, a researcher, author, and overall cool guy. His main research topic was to find and explore the defining characteristics of the Japanese soul. He meant to have found one crucial aspect in folklore. For now, obvious reasons, right? When he was in Tono, he collected the local stories and put them in a book called Tono no Monogatari. That was in 1912. Famous throughout all ages up until now, his many books on this topic helped to keep the folklore tradition vivid and alive.
Furthermore, his work has been a major influence on nowadays pop culture, which makes me his biggest fan, really. Alright, let's see about the town. Morning. As can be expected from a town proud of its history, there's beautiful traditional architecture to be found. Nevertheless, Tono also follows the role model of basically any Japanese city, meaning you just turn around one corner and suddenly you're stuck in a completely different reality. Hey, I know that feeling from Berlin, actually. Let's get back inside. There's the chance to see a proper reconstruction of Kunio Yanagita's workplace, and also his living room, and also the rest of the house. Sweet. That guy knew how to live. I hop into a train to take me only a few kilometers east to an industrial town called Kamaishi. It may not look as much, but this town was basically destroyed entirely by the big tsunami in 2011. The water did not reach the temples and shrines, however. On my journey to find some rolling tobacco and a free place to stay for the night, I end up in this cheery shop full of German oddities, canned goods, liquor, and, of course, sauerkraut. The store belongs to a lovely man called Kenji Sano. He tells me he lost his prior shop in the big tsunami as well. Then, at the age of 80, he had to start all over again. While we're already in his life story, he walks me through some other traumatizing events as well, like the foundation of Kamaishi's metal industry by installing war prisoners. Here's the log file for every bombshell that was fired on Kamaishi in World War II. He got those files from a US Marine who took part in the bombing and returned to Kamaishi decades later to see about the town. That's the guy. So, how do you feel when you meet the man who took part in destroying your city?
How did he feel?
His friends, he asked for me, if you meet that man, you want to kill. Oh, that's... Anyhow, war is more. Huh?
Okay, fair enough. Kenji-sama doesn't have rolling tobacco, but he does have some contacts to a Catholic charity institution. They are willing to regard my journey as a pilgrimage and let me have the momentarily empty house of the main priest for the night. Granted that I'm Catholic, of course. Well, what can I say? Maria, I owe you one.